Let me request Shilpa Nag, who is the Commissioner for Rural Development and eGovernance, Government of Karnataka, to give her views. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been 2.5 days of governance that we are discussing about. 2,400 years ago in Kautilya's Arthashastra, the word governance was first mentioned. So the happiness of the king lies in the happiness of his people. So that is the concept of governance. So essentially governance is people centricity while administering or governing. I think the last 2 decades it was all about good governance. Literally every UPSC interview I went was what is good governance, what is good governance. Now we talk about e-governance, digital governance and all that. When it comes to e-governance initiatives in Karnataka, I think a lot of people have spoken a lot about various initiatives. And it is not a single entity, it's a layer, it's like a foundation, it's like a vein, a bloodstream, which actually activates all other activities. Most people have spoken about delivering citizen services, online citizen service platforms. Most of the financial movement right now is online, it is monitored. We have the public fund management system, the PFMS, and newly there is a REIT module, the receipts, expenditure, advances and transfer module that is compulsory to utilize any government of India resources, financial resources. There is also a lot of learning management system related activity that has gone on. Giving information to people through citizen information portals. In Karnataka, we have the Mahiti Kanaja, where citizen can actually see any information related to any government department. So like this, I think, we have touched multiple portals. So today, at the risk of not repetition, I would like to look at something which not many states may have focused on in this kind of a granularity and detail. So that is planning. So in governance processes, whenever a fund is available, all funds are obviously public funds. So before executing any work, before understanding, what to do, how to spend this money, we go for planning. Planning, implementation, monitoring and evaluation, that is what we do. So I am Narega Commissioner of Karnataka. So even if we take Narega in Karnataka, our annual budget is 6,500 crores. And apart from that, since I come from the rural development background, in RDPR department, the main governance and implementation structures are the Gram Panchayats. In Karnataka, we have nearly 6,000 Gram Panchayats, and so anything that needs to be implemented, basically at the grassroots level, will be implemented by the Gram Panchayats. So the Gram Panchayats receive multiple, funds from multiple sources. We get Government of India funds like the Swachh Bharat Mission, Jal Jeevan Mission, the Narega funds, the 15th Finance. We get state government funds from the state budget, and they also have their own source of revenue. So this is the resource envelope that they will have. And then what to do, what is the other factor that they need for planning? They have to do a need assessment or a demand collection. Again, demand may be of two natures. One may be an individual demand that family requires. So for example, that family may require, a scholarship for their child. The family may require a house or a toilet or something. There are some community or societal demands like they may need a concrete road, they may need a drain, they may need any other community resource. So this is what is requirement mapping. And finally, based on that, and it's not like, they'll have an unlimited Akshaya Patra where they can actually map all sorts of demands and then execute it in 1 year. So resources are limited. So they have to prioritize. First, they have to identify. And in Karnataka, we have started a thing called the prospective planning approach, just like the 5-year plans that we do for the country, wherein we map all the requirements and then take a 3-pronged approach, whether that work can be taken up this year, 1 year, or like a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan. So it is a saturation mode. For example, if you look at developing infrastructure of government schools, so whether you can actually completely saturate, of course, repair and maintenance is an ongoing process, but creation of infrastructure like building playgrounds, school compounds, and toilets for boys and girls, drinking water facility, neat classrooms with properly ventilated classrooms, even maybe some digital infrastructure for children's study and all that. For how many years we'll be doing this? It's been 75 years since independence. It's not like, there is no end to, need. More and more need keeps arising. Somewhere we have to see why, things are not happening. So we have to go for a saturation mode where we feel that, okay, in my district, within 5 years, I'll kind of saturate all the infrastructure that is necessary when it comes to education. Of course, there are new requirements that is always adding up. Population is growing, families are multiplying, number of children may be increasing and all that. But this is the approach we take. So for planning, we take, two prerequisites are there for planning. One is the data that is required. One is the participation of people. I think participatory decision making is the cornerstone of grassroots level democracy. And one is the scientific and evidence-based decision making. So all this is theoretical concepts. How does participation in decision making happen at the grassroots level? There are multiple meetings that are called. I hope that all of you know the concept of a Gram Panchayat. A Gram Panchayat is a combination, at least in Karnataka, it's a combination of maybe 4 to 8 villages where all of them will have a single office. There will be a Panchayat development officer and a group of other officers at the Panchayat level. There'll be an elected, president called the Sarpanch. In North India, they call the Sarpanch, we call it the Panchayat Adhyaksha or the president. So they are responsible for governing the Gram Panchayat limits. So when we talk about participatory decision making, this happens through multiple governance processes. There are multiple meetings. So the first most important, most decentralized unit is a habitation. So there is a meeting called the Habitation Sabha. Then there is a Ward Sabha. Then there is a Gram Sabha where all the voters of that particular village, congregate and understand and discuss about the requirements of that place before planning happens. So what do we do with technology? All these processes are there. In Karnataka, we have Karnataka Gram Swaraj and Panchayat Raj Act of 1993. All this is very clearly defined. When should a Gram Sabha be done? Who should chair a Gram Sabha? What should be the quorum of a Gram Sabha? How the decisions have to be, recorded in proceedings? Who has to authorize the proceedings and all that? Why I am talking so much about all this is that we have added a technology layer to all this. Because it's not perfect. India is a very vast and complex country. We have multiple social groups, we have castes, there may be, elite capture at the decision making level in panchayats. So for example, if somebody wants an individual Narega work, like a soak pit for their home, they may be like only a ward member, a panchayat member, if they recommend only, you'll get it. Otherwise, you won't get it. So it should not be like that. So when we use technology in the form of, meeting management we have conducted. So many times when the Gram Sabha happens, if we randomly go, people would not have gotten a notice that a meeting is supposed to happen. There'll be a small grouping who will kind of sit, make all the decisions, just say that, okay, Gram Sabha is done. These are the beneficiaries we have identified. That's all. So to make it more participatory and for easier monitoring from various levels, including at the state and the district level, and directly giving access to people to see what is happening also. That is the meeting management module within Panchatantra 2. Day before yesterday, I spoke extensively about the Panchatantra 2 platform, which is an ERP solution for governance of Gram Panchayats, done by Gram Panchayats. So on Panchatantra 2 platform, we have a meeting management. Now what happens in meeting management? Whenever the Panchayat has to call a meeting, the notice will be generated on Panchatantra 2 through. And then whoever has registered, any citizen that has registered, they will receive SMS notification. And after 1 week, we have a Gram Sabha. This is the agenda that we'll be discussing in the Gram Sabha. You're invited to the meeting. People who cannot come, it will be on YouTube Live, Facebook Live. They can see what is happening, even if they can't come to the headquarters. And after that, while the meeting is happening, so many times what happens right now, physically they record the proceedings. Many panchayat members may not have come. They send the register to their homes, get the signature. Okay, all of you are present, there is a quorum. So now the quorum will be marked on the system itself. We'll do a one-time biometric registration of all the panchayat members and line department officials so that, whenever a meeting is happening, the attendance will be taken live. And once the system receives the requisite quorum for different kind of meetings, there are different quorums, the meeting will actually start digitally. So after that, again, we are looking at AI-based technology for capturing of proceedings also, speech to text, so that, there is everybody's opinions expressed or somehow captured. So this is something which we are taking up in the second phase, not right now. So the discussion points are captured, then the decision points are captured, and the authentication happens. So the signature will be a joint signature by the Panchayat Adhyaksha and the Panchayat Development Officer. Immediately it will be published for people to view. So this will bring in transparency. Now, right now, governance process is there, but it is not happening in a participatory way or effective way. So this is some technological solution we have actually envisaged to make this, what it should ideally be. So second part of planning, again, I'll speak about Narega also. In Narega, like I mentioned, we have 6,500 crore annual budget, and 65% of that will be for natural resource management works. So we talk so much about climate change, mitigation of climate change and everything. So these assets are very, very important. And every Gram Panchayat in Karnataka, on an average per annum from Narega, they get 1 crore. And that is good money for, developing infrastructure. So when it comes to scientific planning, when we say scientific planning, basically it's like, whenever you're doing Narega works, it's not that you locate anything anywhere or, demand assessment and all that can be done. But where what should be done? So natural resource management may have vented check dams. You may be doing desilting of lakes. You may be kind of building, trenches and contour bunding and everything you may be doing. You may be giving plantation, roadside plantation and all that. So based on a water conservation perspective, where exactly what work should be done, depending on the nature of the soil, what kind of water conservation structure should be taken. For example, it is a clayey soil, so there is surface retention. So then you can take, surface structures like farm ponds. There is the topography wherein there is a lot of absorption, like a limestone sort of a topography. There the water actually percolates. So there you need groundwater recharge structures. So to bring in all these, when we look at planning, again through technology, we are using geospatial technologies extensively. Karnataka has a very good repository of, GIS data sets. The Karnataka GIS, we have integrated GeoManrega with Karnataka GIS, which will act like a tabletop planning, guide for technical people to do Narega planning. And after that, for ground truthing, we have something called a CLART app, where you just take the app, go to the field, the technical person will just see what nature of soil is there. It is divided into 5 color zones, and the system will itself throw up what sort of structures can be taken up. So even before coming before a Gram Sabha for the final decision making, this planning is perfect. It is scientific, it is evidence-based, and then it will add a lot of value. So every rupee that is utilized will be utilized in the right manner. And then there is like, no, you have built a check dam in my land or it has to be here. No, I mean, check dam has to be built in a certain way. There is a ditch to valley approach wherein, the entire water needs of the entire Gram Panchayat are taken into consideration. Water budgeting is done. What are the requirements of the water of the inhabitants? What are the existing sources? Where is the gap? How to fill those gaps? All these things. So I'm saying when it comes to technology usage and governance, literally it's like mind boggling. And we take a very narrow view every time. We think that, okay, just, citizen service delivery is the only thing. No. Citizen service delivery, let me tell, is the simplest thing, actually. Yeah. Technology can have, kind of spin-off effects where, you can actually, especially in terms of government, in a developing country like India, we can't, have wastages and all that. So when it came to space technology also, when we did Mangalyaan, and Chandrayaan and all these things, we do at like a small percentage of budget of NASA and other countries. So we are frugal, we are innovative, and we have jugaad. So technology, if rightly utilized within government also, it's like, its contribution will be immeasurable. In fact, I think I can go on and on, but in the interest of time, maybe I'll come back a second round. Thank you, Mr.